Hello everybody, this is Havoc. Welcome to another Total War Warhammer commentary. This time we're going over the gameplay walkthrough of the Dwarf campaign. We're going to move quickly, but I am going to pause to explain some things and give some commentary on what I want to say. We're going to start right off the bat. We're going to pause it. We're going to focus on this Dwarven campaign map in all of its wondrous glory. I like seeing all of just the details that we already see. It's a little more detailed, I feel, than it's a lot more colorful than I feel Total War Attila has been. And as we can see, we'll go ahead and walk through just a little more. We're going to get focused on, we'll pause as soon as we get there. Awesome. So right here we get to see what we're in. We're in 29 turns in, or Darren is 29 turns into his campaign. As you can see, he has taken the Silver Road province, which is the province that I guess we start in, according to him. And then we have pushed back the orcs to be able to take the Death Pass province. Now the Death Pass province is a dwarven I guess mountain. It's part of the mountain strongholds that were lost to the orcs in time past due to the decline of the dwarves. But as you can see, Darren has taken it back with quite a little bit of success. One thing I do want to point out is that we're 29 turns in and we only have assumingly six territories. And now 29 turns in, a lot of things can happen or not happen in 29 turns. But I think with all of these campaign videos they're coming out with, it really shows that you're not going to want to expand quickly. We're just wanting to really focus internally, make sure you have a strong foothold, and then be able to take advantage of any openings that come up, rather than focus on just pure expanding. So as you can see, surrounding him are his dwarven allies, which is another thing I'm interested to see. I'm wanting to see if maybe, since the humans can attack each other, can the dwarves attack each other? I'm assuming you could go to war with your own race. It would probably have some pretty dire consequences. So we're going to keep moving on. He's just going to explain his situation of taking the Silver Pass and the Silver Road, and then the Death Pass province, and he's going to go on to talk about his allies, his dwarven allies, and how they have pushed back Schwarzhaven. I think that's what it's technically called. He's going to show it in just a second. I believe it is, yep, Schwarzhaven. The vampires are very Germanic in nature, it seems like. I guess Slovenian, they're kind of that Slavic area. So I'm going to pause right here. We're going to show Thorgrim Grudge Bearer. As you can see down in the bottom left corner, he is a level 11. He has 2 pieces of armor or emblems, something like that. We'll find out in just a little bit. And we are going to continue on. And he is just explaining that they're going into the Black Pass to help his allies, but they're making a hasty retreat. And I'm also going to pause here because this dude, as Darren says, does have the most epic name I could think of. Zamnul Mataquaz. Mataquaz. It's an epic, absolutely epic dwarven name. I love it. I love it. But anyways, here is Gregor Ironhide with an army. He just came out of the underpass, or the underway. The dwarven underway, which has both the dwarves and the greenskins have access to the underway. This gives you the ability to go under mountain ranges, under volcanoes, as we saw in the greenskins campaign, and allows you to get out of some hairy situations in most cases. So as you could see from the battle map, he was able to come in. If you look in the top right, kind of has that campaign map. I'm assuming he was able to come in from the north, from his own territory, go through the underway, unexpectedly popping up next to Mount Squighorn, and be able to besiege it from there. So he's got a pretty stacked army, and there's not really any good chance of us keeping it. Not that we really are supposed to, I guess. And then we're going to pause in just a second so I can really show off just the... There we go, right here. Kraz Akrak. It's the crown jewel of the Dwarven Empire. It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, with previous Total Wars, especially with Total War Attila, they're getting more detailed. They're, you know, really expanded with the Total War Attila series in terms of terrain and showing off details, but this is a degree we haven't seen, as I mentioned in my Greenskins commentary. I mean, look at the height of this mountain and just the details of the architecture built into the mountains, the gemstones coming out of the mountains. I mean, this is just an absolutely gorgeous piece of work, and it shows throughout the entire campaign map. And so we're going to go into the building browser. He's going to actually go into details here about how he's researched civic research, which has allowed him to have a very strong garrison, something that the orcs wouldn't be able to take with ease. And then I'm also going to give it a pause right here, because I wanted to show right above where the Silver Road is. You saw those flurries. That's magic. Those are going to have kind of bubbles of magic, the winds of magic. I don't remember exactly what they're called. But that's what those are, is they're literally just bursts of magic. As we continue to look through, you can see they're just swirling around and around, so when you're near them, you will be able to obviously have more magic. Now we're going into technology, and I'm going to pause again, because we have two main branches of Dwarven technology, and this is unique to the dwarves themselves. We have the Way of the Guilds. The Way of the Guilds gives you buffs within your building browsers, your provinces, your cities, things like that. So as you can see, I paused on the autonomy of the holds. It increases growth by 2, while the Empower of the Guilds commandment is active. Commandments are edicts, essentially, for the Total War Warhammer series. And so the guilds, like I said, they'll buff things, they'll give you more income, they'll increase public order. They're basically essentially the civic tree of the dwarves. And then also you'll go down into the Way of the Clans. And the Way of the Clans is your military. It'll give you buffs to your military units, recruitment, melee damage, range damage, the ability to unlock, etc., etc. And I believe now we're going to get into the building browser, and you'll see in the building browser it's relatively simple. The layout is much more simpler than it was in Attila, which is good. And I'm actually going to pause it right here to show them the Great Hold, and just shows you the kind of layout. It is similar to Attila in terms of the buffs layout that it does. I love the artwork of the icons. They're getting more into that Rome 2. It's almost like a fantasy card setting. So I'm really impressed with the cards, and they don't really seem to have changed a whole bunch from the Greenskins campaign, so that means they've been pretty set on it for a while, which I have no issues with whatsoever. And we are going, he's just explaining that in order to get higher tiered buildings, you're going to have to level up the main stronghold area. And then also, something unique to Warhammer is the ability to have these hints, as you're seeing right now. To get the organ gun, you're going to have to get the engineering guild, that sort of thing. It gives you hints on what buildings you're going to need to be able to get certain units. So he's going to move on. We're going to hit the intern. And of course, Gregor Ironhide is going to he's going to attack the settlement. And then Darren just explains he only has a low-level dude and then a low garrison, whereas Gregor and Ironhide is a level 8. And I'm going to pause here on Gitsnik. Gregor and Ironhide has already done one of his major quests, and he has gotten Gitsnik. And with Gitsnik, as you can see, the buffs are pretty powerful. He gets melee attack +6, recruitment cost -10. This is something that's going to be unique as well to the Warhammer series, is the expansion of vampire and chaos corruption. It's visible on the map. It will just destroy the landscape. So as you can see, having this Gitsnik weapon reduces the vampire and chaos corruption by +5 in whatever province he's in. So that will be something as dwarves, as humans, as Obviously, as the greenskins, you're going to need to fight the corruption of the landscape, because I'm sure it will ruin your fertility, if that matters in this game. It will decrease public order, I could imagine. Just things like that. And so Gitsnik, he also has post-battle loot plus 10 and the ability of Gitsnik, which obviously we don't really... Oh, it's right below. It's an augment, 11 seconds, gives him plus 1 damage and plus 1 armor piercing damage. And then, of course, moving on. So you saw Gitsnik, his other thing is going to be the terrifying mask of E. It is a common mask. He acquired it through whatever means. It causes terror. It causes making a melee target rout for a short time. Units that cause terror are immune to terror and fear themselves. That should be pretty obvious. So he's going to have a pretty big buff, is that he can make other units rout just by that mask. So you auto-resolve, decisive defeat. One thing I did want to mention, it doesn't look like we have a protective, aggressive, and balanced stance with that. We'll see if that actually comes into play later at the end of the turn. Obviously, it shows you that stuff, and here is where we get a grudge. A grudge has been issued, so we are going to open up the Great Book of Grudges. And as you can see, we're going to pause right off the bat as soon as he opens it, just to get a look. So as you can see, we have several grudges. The two on the right have obviously been completed. And so basically, anytime there is an offense against the dwarves, they will write it down in the Great Book of Grudges. As you can see, and he mentions it in the video, there are rewards to it. Those are pretty hefty rewards. You can see the Groby Pacification Grudge really gets you plus 3,000 brass, I think he may have called it. And we need to maintain at least 10 public order in the following provinces. So it seems pretty simple of a way to just keep up. It gives you some extra buffs, and it just really steeps into the lore of the Warhammer universe, which is something I'm very excited about as well. So he's just going through that, and then you'll see past grudges that we have, that Darren has completed. And then coming up in just a second is something that's really interesting and that you want to keep up. We're going to pause it right here because right now you're satisfied with low grudge. We have a buff, basically. You have buffs, and as it continues on, you'll have debuffs. As long as you are systematically completing grudges, you're going to get diplomatic relation bonuses within the dwarf realms, so the dwarves, other clans will like you more, and you'll also get public order. As we continue on, you'll see the longer that you hold the grudge without completing it, the more your leadership, your diplomacy goes down, and your public order also goes down. And so again, he will explain that you get a good, not just treasure always, but you will also get into some buffs like the greenskin conflict, which I'm going to pause it, in which it gives you leadership plus 16 versus the greenskins in all forces for 3 turns. Now, I'm not quite sure what leadership does right now. I'm assuming it's almost like morale. And so it won't always be money. It may be buffs that help you fight whatever faction that slighted you that has the grudge. So that's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to playing as the dwarves because they will be a lot of fun to play. It'll be a completely different style than I've ever played before. So he's going to move these guys to march. Yada yada blah blah blah. And as we see, we're going to pause on Thorin once he moves into a Karaz Karak. And you will see he's a level 11. I mentioned that earlier. And we're going to get to look at two of his little buffs that he has. He has glittering scales, which is a common thing. He gets plus 3 armor, plus 3 melee defense, and has the passive ability of glittering scales, which gives him minus 6 melee attack. I'm assuming it gives him a lot of armor. I don't know. And then his other one is the Shrieking Blade. The Shrieking Blade is interesting because with Thorgrim, the Shrieking Blade causes terror. So if Thorgrim and Ironhide were to go at it, if they were to attack each other, they would actually cancel each other out. Since that causes terror and Ironhide's mask causes terror, you're going to have Basically, they're just going to cancel each other out, which could be really useful in a battle. I mean, if you really think about it, you make sure that he can't use, that like Ironhide can't use his mask, and you'll be pretty good. And aside from that, guys, that will be the end of the video. He just goes on to explain a few things, and so that will wrap it up. If you like my commentary, leave it a thumbs up. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I'm excited about Warhammer. He just goes on about a hero. I really don't want to go into that. I'm just really excited about the Warhammer universe. The more I need to dive into it, actually, I forgot about this. So we'll dive into this too. I completely forgot about Thorgrim's, his character stats. So this is also really kind of cool though. So they've kind of leveled out his skill points and things like that across all trees. Sorry, I can't talk. So you'll have kind of military buffs, which will help in battle. You'll have provincial, like as a governor essentially, as the person, not the general. You'll have things so like Ancestral Grudge, he gets weapon strength +8 versus greenskins. That's going to be a general buff, obviously. But if you'll look on the left side, you'll really see all of the battle effects, the campaign effects that he has. They're just right there. They're accessible. They are all just ready to see. He has leadership +10, weapon strength +8, armor +9. This dude is pretty stinking ripped. Jacked, however you want to call him. He's a level 11, so yeah. And we're going to pause right here. He has already completed his quest for the Axe of Grimnir, and the Axe of Grimnir gives him a lot of damage too. So these legendary lords, they are literally going to be legendary. They're going to just be absolutely overpowered because that is the Warhammer universe. Thorgrim Grudgebearer isn't going to die by some random goblin kicking him in the face. You know, he is going to just be this battle tank that can just take and take and take without dying easily. So like the quest, the Axe of Grimnir gives him +6 melee, bonus versus large +4, armor piercing damage +12, upkeep cost for all units -10, recruitment costs a buff, and post battle loot. So just his first quest already makes him so much more powerful than he was before, and he still has what, 3 other quests after that. So I think he will be absolutely OP by the end of the game, which I'm completely okay with. And so here's where he goes, where you have access to the grudges and the quests. In order to get to the next quest, he has to hire 2 gyrocopters, and so that's kind of how that will work. And I'm going to go ahead and pause right here, just to show kind of the landscape and to wrap up. I apologize, I completely forgot about his leadership tree. But this is the end of the commentary, so if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, we will very much be looking forward to Total War Warhammer. I appreciate all the support I have gotten from these Warhammer videos. I enjoy making them. It's fun, it's exciting, it gets me just riled up for Warhammer. I will be doing 3 factions within Warhammer for sure. They will replace all 3 of my Total War Attila factions that are going on now. So just stick with me, guys. We will get this done, and I will see you in April with Warhammer, and I will always keep you up to date. I'm staying on top of it now. This is Havoc, and I am out of here. Peace!